Welcome to another episode of the Liberty Leaders Podcast, where we get to interview entrepreneurs and I guess specifically real estate investors and people who are in that field. I love talking to people who are on the ground level, either doing deals, funding deals, finding deals. And today I get to meet with one guy who is part of the funding process. All right. I believe the CEO and owner of Starvox. Is that right, John? Is that how it's
Yes, sir.
Starvox Capital. And
Starvox Capital. Yep.
John Krause is with us today. So, John, thank you so much for being a part of the Liberty Leaders podcast. Let's get right into it. So, appreciate your time today, man.
Thanks, dude. Love being here with you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, we've worked together in the past slightly,
Yep.
and we've been friends for a while. And now that I'm really working with real estate investors, I think
Yeah.
our streams are going to cross quite a bit. And people are always looking for funding, so I think you are a good guy to know. Tell us a little bit about how you went from, I don't know, starting out to where you're at now.
Yeah. So when I started this company back in 2019, I literally all I was doing was real estate funding for investors who were flipping properties locally here in Connecticut, down to Florida, out to Oklahoma. I mean, all across the country, we were doing these things. And that's really what we focused on and how I started Starvox Capital. That was the one product, other than maybe doing some DSCR loans. Those two things, the 1 to 4 units, that was our bread and butter, and we still do it today. I mean, we still do a lot of it today. We know it like the back of our hand. We take care of investors that are brand new, also all the way up through the gambit of super qualified and experienced guys and gals, and it's a lot of fun. I love it.
So that's your niche, really. Two to four units, or two to four doors, or two to four, um, I guess like tenant locations, right? Is that what you're saying? That's your main baby.
Anything from single family properties to 4 units. That's typically where the flippers are.
Got it.
People that are rehabbing properties to hold. So yeah, that's how we started the whole thing.
And what have you noticed over the past, let's just say, 2 years? I know that, all right, I'm in syndication. Shit has hit the fan with syndications, and things are a little bit different than they were 4 or 5 years ago. What have you noticed over the past couple of years in your space?
Deals are harder to come by, across the board in the residential loan, in the residential space, which is the 1 to 4 space. So
Yep.
it comes down to how they're finding the deals. These investors are always struggling to find deals, to find houses. And if they're going and leveraging the MLS only, you're battling with every other owner occupied person that's out there. That's why it's important to either be connected with a lead type system like what you're offering, or wholesalers, or somebody that can get directly to the client. That's the way to win in this market. So especially today in my market here, Connecticut Northeast, but literally everywhere we've done loans. It's the same story.
Yeah. So you're saying it's just harder to find deals. Why? Because the market's pulling back? Is it because it really pushed away a lot of the fly by night people, or is it, I don't know. I think there's a few things, whether it's the interest rates, the underwriting's more difficult. I don't know. Like, why is that? Obviously, it's harder to find deals, but what's the main reason?
I mean, I don't think it's like an underwriting more difficult. If anything, it's gotten easier, for
Really?
underwriting from my view anyway. It's a lot of it is inventory or lack of inventory in certain markets. In a lot of markets, there's just not enough places to purchase that are on the market. That's where it gets tough, because if you're a buyer trying to purchase a flip and you're looking on the MLS, well, guess who you're fighting against? You're fighting against the person that wants to live there, and they're always going to pay more than you, and they should. They should. You should never try to compete buying, spending way over. That's just not the right thing to do. And every experienced flipper knows that. So they're trying to find deals that are actual deals. So in my opinion, that's the main reason. In most markets, that's the challenge is residential lending has gotten easier for home buyers. It's gotten easier because they've got, like in Connecticut and Massachusetts, and I'm sure in most states, they have tons of aggressive first time home buyer programs where they're giving you up to, call it 45, 50 grand as a down payment. That's like free money. So it's making more people enter the pool, which is good because people need to live in homes, right? They want home ownership is awesome. But it's competing against our clients and anybody who's trying to earn a living by flipping properties or rehabbing to hold.
Have you seen the stat that is like in 1950, the average first time home buyer was like 31. Now I think it's like either 49 or 51 or something like that. Have you, or something crazy?
I haven't seen that, but I feel like I feel like it's they're trying to flip that number a little bit because they're getting it more aggressive. But that I think that's probably pretty accurate too. If you're thinking about it, people are waiting. They're like, well, why buy to live in? I mean, there's a lot of gurus out there that say don't ever buy. You read, Robert Kiyosaki's book, that your house that you live in isn't an asset. It's not. It's a liability.
Yep.
So there's so many different views about it though. So that stat may not that doesn't shock me if that's true.
Yeah, I think it's either 40 or 49. It's in the 40s or high 40s, and it's pretty crazy to show like how everybody's waiting. And I got in 2008. I did the FHA loan, 3% down. We were talking about this, how it was like
Yeah.
that was right
Yeah.
before the shit hit the fan. And I don't know, is it like that still because they're trying to incentivize first-time home buying, or is it a little bit more difficult now?
Difficult. No, I think FHA is out there. I mean, there's a lot
Is it
of
still
conventional
3%?
products out there. What's that? Yeah,
Is
three
it?
and a half percent now.
Yep.
Yep, 3.5%. But I mean, yeah, there. I was doing when I was doing residential loans. There probably still is FHA loans that you could get 100% financing. You'd get a second that covers your your down payment plus some of your closing costs. So there's aggressive programs out there for home buyers
And I
that
know
are that want to live in the property.
yeah, we talked a little bit about this because I've been working with wholesalers, fix and flippers, people who are buy and hold, and you know, y- when it comes to getting funding, some people who have done that a long time run into maybe personal credit problems. And I noticed that maybe some things like what you offer go off of the deal. So I don't know if it's for everywhere, but um, what is the typical person coming to you for? Is it basically a short-term loan, or is it basically buy and hold? And I guess what's your competition out there? There are people out there offering whether it's 100% funding for certain deals out there, but I guess it's very short term. So what is
Yeah.
it that you specifically like the person out there who's listening, who's perfect to work with you?
I mean, it depends on where they are. I mean, we just rolled out a program called Cornerstone Advisory, where we advise those first time people who have never flipped a property. They hope to someday, and it's that maybe they're ready to do it. So the perfect person might be somebody who's brand new, because we've serviced so many different type of people, and quite honestly, like that's what we've built over the past however many years since 2019. We've built so many different funding relationships. We don't fund this ourselves. We go to market to the relationships that we've built and we've grown and get these deals funded for the specific person. So there's not just one client that comes to Starvox Capital and says, this is our person, because we have so many different. I just had this conversation the other day with a gentleman, one of my clients, good guy. He's here in Connecticut. He wants to refinance one of his properties. He's like, well, I've got to go to my partners and let them know that I'm shopping this out. I'm like, well, when you come to us, we're doing the shopping. We're hitting all of our resources on multiple lenders to make sure that you, the client, has the best terms for that deal, because every deal's different. Every person's different. So when you say who's the best client, we can service just about, and I hate, everyone tells you you got a niche, but that's it's hard to niche when we can really, the relationships we have take care of just about anybody out there.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I learned it. It's really tough. Like if you can help an entrepreneur, you can help an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter where they're at in which bracket. But yeah, niching down makes it a little easier for marketing and specific language that you use in your materials. But sometimes you can help a huge gambit of people, and I know that
Well,
you are able to do that. Basically, it seems like all East Coast, or is it everywhere?
just about everywhere. I mean, most states we can fund in it. And when you say niche, you had said like, what's your competition and things like that. There's so many people in this space now. There's so many brokers that are doing just what I'm doing in the 1 to 4 unit space, for fix and flips and DSCR loans, for rental loans. So yes, we will do those. We'll always do those. But if you want to talk niche, we also like to be, the not the only game in town, but we like to be the game in town that maybe there's not as much competition. And what we found is, being able to do that stuff is great. We'll always do it. But doing commercial loans and commercial lending is the niche that most regular loan officers aren't doing. So if you want to talk niches, we are niching out a little bit as a company and that trying to separate ourselves from everybody else, but we're never going to alienate the flipper and the person wanting to do the 1 to 4, which is why we launched that Cornerstone Advisory to help those that have never done it before, so we can really hold their hand.
I was told, or maybe I'm wrong about this, but anything over 4 units is commercial. 4 units and below is residential still, but no matter where you're at, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. As long as it's, yeah, 1 to 4 units, residential, 5 plus is technically commercial. But you can get into the weeds with where you have to go for lending for a 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 unit property versus like but it's, there are a lot of similarities, but in terms of qualifications, it can be very different. If somebody's looking to rehab a property that's a 5 unit or 6 unit property, we can do that. But a lot of times the lending outlets want experience with doing that. So we help try to guide and navigate them and try to teach them on how they can potentially get to that point. But a lot of lenders want some sort of tangible experience in that 5 plus area just because there's different laws and rules, in commercial versus residential.
Have you just noticed the one big change that there's not as many refis happening? Is that the biggest difference in the past 3, 4 years?
Yeah, well, I think it's coming back. If you're talking residential conventional stuff, those refis are coming back because when the rates spiked in 2022, everyone was getting a home ownership loan for sevens and eights, like crappy real estate. So there's a lot of refis out there right now because, rates are in the sixes.
Oh, you mean that? Yeah,
Yeah,
I keep thinking 2021, 2020, people got into it doing well, and then it spiked. So I'm still thinking it's high, but you're right. It may be
yeah.
lower than it was back in 2022.
Right. For that moment that it spiked again, yes, you're right. The 2020, the 3 percenters and the 2%, the people that got the 2% 30-year fix, they better never leave. I mean, they'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
And
But
I'm in
yeah,
that boat. I'm screwed because I was in a syndication where we're expecting that refi and it's not coming out. It sucks.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. So I mean, it is expensive, but the regular residential, the investor side, the rates they've kind of held pretty steady for the most part.
Nice. Okay. And across the, what's really cool about my business is I'm able to see different pockets. And I'm telling you,
Mm.
we generate leads for people. Certain areas like Louisiana, you maybe certain parts of Iowa, some in Minnesota, some parts of Pennsylvania. Pretty easy to find off-market houses. But you go to freaking California, San Jose, or certain parts of Virginia. I don't know. Maybe these are just uppity areas. I don't know, but it is really tough to find off-market deals at a good price for the investors and for the wholesalers. Are you noticing any hot pockets right now?
Not necessarily. We do so many things all over the place. I think that I'm noticing more the tougher areas, which is like what you said, those type of areas, where it's challenging. Connecticut is one of those areas. People are doing it still. Massachusetts, there's less landscape, there's less free land, there's less building. I mean, even though that's up and coming too, the construction world, the building of houses to rent or to sell has skyrocketed. But yeah, no, I noticed there's areas that are having tougher times
Yeah, so
versus
just give me a couple
booming.
down because I'm going to see if it matches up. You just said Connecticut, Massachusetts. Like, what is that? Just the New England area. What
Yeah,
else?
just it's so densely populated in these little states, Rhode Island's the like that whole New England, New York, probably like more
Yep.
more like closer to the city. You get into the rural area, we're getting deals in the rural areas of New York, like upstate. But I would say, there was a moment in time, I don't know how many people you've got in the Florida market. I gotta imagine that's probably a good place now for you
Northern
to pick
Florida,
up
we're playing
leads.
around with. Northern Florida, yes. Southern
Yeah.
Florida, I have not played with that yet.
Hmm.
But you're
Yeah, I'm
noticing it's
thinking that.
still good. You're thinking
What's
that's
that?
pretty good. You're saying that's pretty good. Florida,
For
all of
people
Florida.
trying to acquire properties that are in underwater. I remember I had a few people that did some loans a few years back that were rehabbing to hold, and then just the market wherever they were just declined, and they were like, "Crap, I can't even refinance this now. I've got to sell it." And
Jeez.
which stinks. But like, yeah, I think it's very, Florida's a big state, and I'm sure there's areas that are crushing it, but it can be challenging.
Yeah, and I mean, you probably see it, it's all over, but like if you're across the country providing loans, uh, you probably see a huge jump, right? I bought my first property, it was 160,000 in Pennsylvania. It was a 4 unit. You go to California for a 4 unit. I don't know. Are we talking 1.5 million somewhere in there? Probably
It's
somewhere.
crazy. It's crazy. I mean, you can even look at Connecticut to New York to Connecticut. There's a lot of investors coming into Connecticut to buy a property just because, those 10, 15, 20 miles across the border, it's a massive difference. It's cheaper in Connecticut, so they're coming with cash and just picking up properties, and they have been since COVID. I'm sure historically they always have been, just because the prices are more in New York. But yeah, oh yeah, it's crazy. The different markets, the price, even town to town, dude. Like town to town here in Connecticut, you're like, seriously? Like that house is 750 here, and two towns over, it's 1.2 million. Like,
Yeah. I had no idea that it is that scattered. I can't
hmm
believe it. Certain pockets are really hot, some are really cold, but then again, property values, I mean, I guess it makes sense when I look at Pittsburgh. You go 20 minutes one direction, and these are $2.5 million houses in Sewickley. You go to another area just 10 minutes away, you're in the hood, man, and it's bad
yeah,
news.
yeah, yeah, no
So I
doubt.
guess it makes
It's
sense.
yeah, yeah. It's
Um,
just where people want to live. School systems. Certain towns. Like my office is here in West Hartford, Connecticut, and this town is one of those towns where it's like the real estate is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. I mean, it's a great town, great school systems, but I live the next town over, and because I don't need the school systems, like we send our kids to different schools than public for the most part, and the cost savings is astronomical just for being one town over.
How about the people that you see thriving right now? What's cool about I get to work with everybody in different backgrounds, startups and people who have been seasoned for many years in the real estate
hmm
space. And I don't know, I just think that they all have different levers, and the ones who succeed in more so almost in a downturn than they do in whenever it's going really well. Even though they
hmm
still do really well, now they're making their moves. And I was just on a webinar with Matt Larson yesterday.
mm
He was showing what's happening out there. You're talking about property taxes going up. You're noticing certain
Yep.
things with economy, job loss, crazy job loss. And here's what's amazing about job loss. The numbers, even what they're saying, are complete lies because they're taking away all the people who are not looking for a job right now,
Right.
and those numbers are completely fake. So with all that happening, I don't know, wholesalers and people who are looking to get insane deals, this is the time to thrive right now. So, are you noticing it's those people who have all those levers that basically they're real estate agent connections, they're selling on market, selling off market, buying on market. They have every lever at their disposal. Is that right?
Yeah, I think the smart guys are doing it right. They've got the levers, but they've got the processes and systems down, to where they're figuring out how to get leads like you are for people. They're not just like sitting there hoping and just going and door knocking. They actually have systems. There's so much technology out there that they're leveraging, like what you're leveraging, like the technology behind it is amazing. And if you're using it, you're going to do well. And it's numbers, it's sales. It's about, the sales has always been numbers, contacts versus, appointments versus closes. I mean, that's really what it is. And the guys that are doing it well and crushing it, even in Connecticut's got, they just came out with a law where wholesalers now have to register with the state of Connecticut and pay a nominal fee. But we're a democratic state, and that's obviously, it's a money grab for the state. But it's also, everyone's got their opinions on wholesalers. You got a lot of realtors that can't stand it because essentially they're viewing it as they're taking deals out of their pocket. But I think everyone can work hand in hand in this business. And the smart ones are doing it well. We've got people that are doing they're wholesalers, but they're also flipping and selling, and they're real estate agents. They kind of do it all.
Yep.
And if their goal is to serve, which most of the really good ones are like, we're just trying to help people, they do very well too. Like they're helping that homeowner that's in trouble. They're there to say, listen, you're in trouble. Let's come up with a solution, whether or not it's a cash offer today, whether or not it's listing it on the MLS today. If they lead with that, and I think that's how you have to do business these days. You got to lead with like the servant mindset and the servant heart. And if you could do that, I think all good things come from that.
Yeah. What do you think is like from all the real estate people that you work with, or even in your space? What is the skill set that people need the most?
Um, it's crazy with AI coming out and everything going. I think you just have to be willing to pivot and adjust and take risks. But it's just hard work. Hard work. Putting the work in every day. I think that, when there was a moment in time when I was trying to grow Starbucks, adding on loan officers, and I had 20 something loan officers across the country. And it's the same thing as if you're a realtor. You just have to talk to a lot of people and meet a lot of people. And if you enjoy doing that work, whether or not now you're leveraging AI or different services and things like that, doing the work is the key. And whether or not it's you doing it or some other service doing it for you, you have to implement something. You can't just hope the phone's going to ring, and then the rest is the service aspect. Customer service is the separator, I think. I think it's still paramount. You have to be able to make sure you're communicating very well with your clients, whatever it is.
Maybe it's, yeah, and I guess I'm picking up on the people who I work with that are successful are they kiss a lot of frogs and they're cool with it, right? Because they know everything's a numbers game. I'm just thinking of two or three
Yeah.
super successful people that I work with, and we send them leads, okay? And if I talk to them, I'll be like, "Hey, how are those leads?" Oh, well, these people suck. These people suck. But this one was good. These people suck, but this was good. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I love it, right? You
Yeah.
talk to somebody who is not successful, you send them one, two, three leads, and they don't close right away. They're like, "These leads suck. Can you get me more something different? Like, I want to change this up, or I want to cancel." And I'm
Hmm.
thinking to myself, that's the fork in the road right there. The people who are successful either have these insane people skills, they love dealing with people, or they know everything is a numbers game. So no matter what, good, bad, ugly, just keep them coming. As long as they have a
Yep.
steady flow, I have energy coming my way. The person who's not successful says, I only want everything to be laid out. And if it takes any energy to close that deal, I don't want it. They want these laydowns. And I'm thinking back in my window selling days, the ones who succeeded, just give him leads. He'll close a certain percentage. It's a numbers game. The ones who failed get burned out because they can't close within a week. Like that is
Right.
it.
Yeah. It's patience. You have to have patience and persistence. It's just like anything else. It's just like health and fitness. You want to get in shape. You can't go to the gym for a week or a month or 3 months and be like jacked or like trimming tons of body fat. It takes time. It's over time it happens, but you have to keep showing up. And if it's the same thing with work in your business, if you don't keep showing up and doing the work every single day, you can't expect to win every day. And sometimes, Mike, you're going to get the laydowns. You're going to get
Yeah, you will.
the layups or whatever. Like someone just, and that's great. But that's just the cherry on top from all the hard work you're already doing. But I
Yeah.
agree with you. There's two people, like you said. There's the person that's like out there just jamming and hustling and talking to people and building something organic and doing that. That's more who I am. I'm not the guy who's gonna. You have to be self-aware. I'm not the guy who's gonna sit here and hammer phone calls. That's not who I am. I'm not gonna just call leads. But there's so many people that will.
Yeah.
And you just have to figure out which lane you're in and do it. That's all. And the problem is the one who makes all the excuses. It's not me. It's the lead. It's the person. It's the finger pointers of the world that will never be successful. They always have an excuse every day.
How about the people you work with? You said you work with a lot of loan officers. Do you still have a big team, or is it just you, or like what's that look like?
Yeah, so we have a small team of direct loan officers in-house, but we've pivoted and we service the residential loan officer now. So the person who works for, whatever mortgage brokerage in the United States that doesn't do what we do. And instead of them saying, "Sir, sorry, no, I can't do that type of loan," we're partnered with them as their back-end commercial lender. And we give them a nice pretty link for an application and they just
Got it.
fill we make it seamless. So right now we've got I think 20 plus of those signed up, which we just launched this program about a month ago, and it's just going to keep catching wind because honestly, I'm leading. Yeah, I want to be successful too, but I'm also leading this program with a servant heart, saying, "Stop saying no. Stop losing your client." Let them keep coming back to you for the refinance that you can do and all the stuff that you can do, but don't say no to something that you can't do that has them leave your organization. Keep them in your organization. So that's what we've launched, recently. And any residential loan officer that might be listening to this that doesn't do commercial lending, we should have a conversation.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
full transparency, I'm an affiliate of yours. People come to me in certain places and looking for certain things, 1 to 4 units. I send them a link, people sign up, and it'll be basically tied to my name, right? That's how it's
Yep.
done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same setup you do with other loan officers, it seems like. But I'm
Yeah.
not a
We have
loan
a little.
officer. I'm just a lead generator.
Yeah, we have a referral partner link, which is what you are. So yeah,
Okay,
something a
yeah,
little bit different than the loan officer, but yeah, somebody that's got is a great connector can connect with us and connect us with other loan officers or other clients.
got it. Cool. And
Yep.
then how did you get into this? Like what did you see? Because I'll tell you, when I first got into entrepreneurship, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's
Mm.
why I got into it. I was like, all right, whatever he's doing. But I found out my real niche that I wanted to focus on was like building a startup brand feel like I wanted something that would be, I kind of feel like it's mine. I didn't feel like real estate was like, oh, I could build something that was like truly mine. It was a property or whatever. But then as time goes on, I built a publishing business, got to meet with all these people who are super successful, building
Yeah.
their own brand within the real estate space. And I realized 90% of people who started with me or has been with me or I've been in contact that have succeeded have been in real estate. And slowly but surely, I went back into the real estate space and I realized this is what I can build a brand within the real estate space. So it kind of went full circle, real Rich Dad Poor Dad into many other things. Now I'm back in it, but I figured out a way that suits my strengths. And what about you? Like what drew you to either the financing or the real estate space?
So I was kind of, out of college, I was running health clubs. That's what I did. I did it for another guy, and I kind of got to the top echelon of management there that I could go. And it was either the owner was a great guy. He's like, John, I think you should, there's nowhere else higher that you can go here. You're young, you're smart, you're doing well with sales. Look at pharmaceuticals, and I've got a connection to the mortgage business. I interviewed a ton in pharmaceuticals. I never landed anything because I didn't have any experience in pharma. It is what it is. But I had a conversation with a guy in the mortgage business, and I fell in love with it back in 2004. 2004, residential loan officer was very different than it is today. It was the wild, wild west, which is why in 2008 it crashed. And I was in it for those 4 years, whether or not it was a loan officer or an account executive for a wholesale company. It crashed. I swore I'd never go back, Mike. I was like, I can't. The way that left a bad taste in everybody's mouth that was in the business. Um, for me, it was just like, I'll never ever do that again. A lot of my friends stayed in it and they stayed in it. They're still in it, which is amazing. I traveled a lot of different roads. As you know, I battled cancer 3 times. Like I like got in a nonprofit. We started a nonprofit, and eventually I was just like, okay, I need to figure out what I want to do because all these other avenues. I got my MBA. I'm like, let's go up to corp. None of that was really satisfying. And then in 2017, I was like, let's go back into the mortgage space because everyone in on God's green earth is telling me to go back.
Hmm.
And a friend of mine gave me a window. So I took the window, fell in love with it again. But then I got into helping flippers and I was working for a small brokerage. And that brokerage said, "Don't ever do those loans because you'll never make any money, John. It's not worth doing." Well, it was like a hold my beer moment, It was like, okay, well, and after 6 months or a year, I was crushing it with that for them. And then I was like, well, why am I doing this for them when I could do this for myself? And all those reasons why I never liked any other job was really the reason what I figured out that I need to be doing this for myself. And ever since I left in 2019, I have never looked back. I've never looked back. I've never been like, oh, I really should go get a job. I never. And I fell in love with working with the investor because it's all about the numbers. It's all about helping them grow. It's exciting because they're building wealth, and it's just being a part of that it's always been fun. So that's how it started. That's where it is. And now we help anything from the brand new guy all the way up to the seasoned investors.
Man, you brought
Yeah.
up cancer, and I was going to get to it later, but I'll figure since you brought it up, you battled cancer 3 times. All right. I know that I see people who go to the hospital 1 time and it changes their life. What has fighting cancer 3 times and beating it? taught you?
Lots of things. Perspective, first and foremost. It gave me perspective on how short life is. Even though we have 80 years, 70 years, 100 years. Listen, you see people die at 40 and 30 and 20, like it could be over tomorrow. So it gave me perspective on how precious life is. It also, the most important thing, it gave me my faith in God. That's where I found my relationship with Jesus Christ, who's my Lord and Savior. That's the most important thing. But aside from that, I realized, like, all right, I've got so much more to do in this world, whatever it is. I'm just being led by him. And come to find out, this is all that I'm doing now with Starvox Capital is really like I'm just following what is presented to me. But it's perspective, perspective, perspective. And there's a lot of people that think that, they're never going to get sick and that nothing could ever happen. And I pray to God that it doesn't. But if it does, you have to have the mindset of winning. You can never have the mindset of losing and giving up and woe is me. It's always about positivity, faith, and that'll help get you through. For real. I mean, I've done it 3 times, and it's not me. It's not John Krause that does it. It's a higher power, and it's great medication and great hospitals like Dana-Farber. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've learned a lot. And honestly, Mike, I'll tell you this, and I told a lot of people this. I don't look back and regret and feel like, wow, I really wish I never went through that. I mean, part of me, of course, like, yeah, it'd be cool if I never was a cancer patient. Sure, definitely. But I wouldn't be the man I am today if I didn't go through that. I would not. There's not a chance in the world that I'd be who I am, have the perspective that I have the faith that I have if I hadn't gone through that. So I wouldn't give up who I am today for not going through what I've gone through.
Jeez, oh man, that's amazing. And so you look really healthy. I'm telling you, whenever I think you lost a lot of weight, and then now it looks like you're at fighting weight right now. So do you feel amazing?
Yeah.
Like, what have you done differently in your life? Do you treat your business differently? Do you spend more time with family? Like, what have you done number one for yourself, but also when it comes to your business?
I think something that I've learned through the time that I've gone through cancer and coming out of it is a couple things, and I'll give my wife credit for one of them for sure, is you can get out there and want to help the world, which is a great giving back. We started Team John. I'm on the board of Blood Cancer United. I give, 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 give. But the one thing I never ever want to lose focus on is the walls of my house and the 4 kids that I have and my wife. Like that's the reason like that I work for. That's the reason that I work hard for. Like that's really that's first and foremost. As far as, everything else, I have only one life. Today's a gift. I better treat this body as the vessel that God gave me and take care of it. Eat a little bit better, work out every day, like take care of myself. Listen, I've got some kids I got to try to keep up with, I've got strong daughters and strong sons that are probably stronger than me, and I go to the gym every damn day. So part of it's motivation to stay healthy. That way I can wrestle with them and someday wrestle with my grandkids, and hope, by the grace of God, be alive to wrestle with my grandkids. So yeah, I mean, my business, you know, I think the toughest part with all of that being said is I'm focused on life so much, right? That I want to be the husband and the father that they all need, but I also need to be the business owner and successful so I can provide. So that's been one of those things where like through time I used to get stressed out financially and I still do every once in a while. I've learned to give that to God, but it's one of those things where if I'm not putting in the work to be able to provide and grow, then what am I doing? You've got to be what, like we said earlier in the conversation, you've got to be able to put in the work every single day. So all that I've gone through is kind of grounded me where I am as a man and as a husband and a father, but it's also grounded me of like, all right, well, I also have the responsibility to grow this business, not just for me, but for the people that I'm serving. My sister's in the next room. She's my processor. Like she's here, and there's other people that are joining the company. In the future of this, other people will join the company to work for us. And there's a responsibility with that. And you know that, Mike. You get it. You're a business owner. You've been several businesses successful. So there is that responsibility that you have to understand and be willing to accept and excited to want to grow. So yeah, all that's changed me quite a bit. But it's all for the better for sure.
And you get to see people get into their first property, right? I always was told the greatest couple phrase or couple words for a real estate agent is it's clear to close, right? I'm assuming it's the same way with you, right? Helping somebody get into this because you know real estate is a way to true wealth and freedom if they do it the right way. So the people who come to you, you see them get into the deal. Like, what is the time frame that it looks like to work with you? They find a piece of property, they come to you for a loan. There's probably like some type of time frame that it usually takes or what you look at. What does it look like from start to finish? Somebody out there listening, and what is one piece of advice you would say to them?
Yeah, I think the piece of advice real quick is just, kind of have your ducks in a row. And if you don't know what those ducks are, then we should talk. We should take you under our wing in our advisory side, and teach you and show you what you need. Because as a new investor, there are things that you don't know, and that's okay. You're not supposed to know everything. You can do a ton of research and learn it, which is great. But until you get the money figured out, that's one of the things that stops everyone. If you don't have the money side figured out, you can look at properties all day and be like, oh, that's a good price. But if you're for some reason pausing because the money seems challenging, that's where we come in. And the time frame can vary to somebody who's like, John, I have no clue. I don't know what to do, where to start. Well, we're going to walk until we can run, right? Somebody that comes to us that says, all right, I've got a property and I want to get going. Well, great. Let's get going. Let's get the property kind of underwritten first to make sure that the numbers work. And then we just go into the loan transaction and typically takes anywhere from, I'd say 15 days or so to 30 days potentially, depending on other factors that are not in my control or the client's control. There's third party people that can slow things up, but typically it's 15 days to 30 days.
That's fast.
Sometimes quicker, but quicker is always more expensive too. People have to understand they want things fast and right away. It's usually more expensive to get things fast and right away. But that's okay. We still try to operate with a lot of speed and integrity.
When you work with somebody once and then go into a second time, it just shortens the window, right? They know
Yeah.
what they need. You know a little bit about them. I'm assuming they become more bankable. They probably find better deals. Getting that first one under your belt is huge. And so when I did my first deal, I just remember feeling 10 times more confident when I would talk to people.
Oh yeah.
And I'm assuming you see the same thing, the transformation within people, right?
Yeah. And once they have their first deal, they've done it with us, we have all their information already. So it's really, unless they're changing the LLC, pretty much, rinse and repeat. Do it again, do it again, do it again. And it definitely shortens the window of time for sure.
Now, is this personal debt or business debt? Does it depend, right?
It's all through LLC business. It doesn't report on their credit report at all. It won't report on their, if somebody pulls their TransUnion, this loan won't report on there, which is good because it doesn't affect when you buy a car or you want to buy your personal house, that it doesn't affect your debt to income ratio.
Guys, that's
Um,
so awesome. That
yeah,
right there. Please
yeah.
just take that note. I mean, I just made a post about it today. Like, if there's anything, use business debt, not personal. That's awesome.
I mean, you're still personally guaranteeing it, meaning like, you're gonna say that you're gonna pay for it, but it doesn't report. That's the beautiful part about it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh,
Yep.
wow. Yeah, and these guys all do you they have to have an LLC before they come to meet with you, right? I'm just thinking maybe you have connections.
No, they don't have to have an LLC. Those are quick in most states to get. We've done several loans for people that haven't had one pulled, and they rip one through in like 7 days and get EIN verification sent to them pretty quickly. IRS works pretty quick.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So you can help out with that. So if somebody's out there listening to this podcast, watching it, they can go to you. You're in Connecticut, you said, but you can serve anywhere. You do Zoom calls, right? These are all Zoom calls.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll jump on a Teams call or a Zoom call with them, and phone call, whatever they're comfortable with. Have some conversations, and wherever they are, it's best to just talk.
Yep.
Get a little discovery call going and go from there.
And then do you work with them from start to finish on average, or is it one of your team members?
Right now, you'll see me most of the time. As we keep growing, the goal is to have somebody else also doing some of that, and that's very soon. So there'll be a few of us doing it, but yeah, initially, with our cornerstone advisory, it most likely will be me. And that'll be my focus, is really focusing on helping those new investors and the seasoned investors that want to grow into commercial. But yeah, the regular stuff, down the road will be, yeah, let's just get it through the system and you have access to us.
And what is the best way to go about it? Is it to find the property, then come to you, or to go through and get it all set up with you? So once they find the property, they can do it real fast.
It's best to be like go with us and talk with us and get set up and understand what's going to be needed first. Um, but there's many people that come to us, John, I have a property, I need funding. Okay, let's just get it done. If you're ready, you have some cash. We can get your LLC, we can tell you the steps, and we can get you going. And that's typically not a problem. But yeah, if somebody does not know what they're doing and they need, someone to hold their hand, that's what we're here for.
How about land? No property, just land. You do it?
Yeah, we have outlets for it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's coming up more and more and more. So to get more outlets for that will be good for us. But it depends on what they're trying to do. If they're just trying to sit on it, they're gonna have to come up with a sizable down payment just to sit on it. But if they want to buy to build, then that's a different conversation for sure for construction. Yep.
Got it.
Mhm.
And if you can go back in time to tell your former self one thing that would speed up your success rate when it comes to what you do, or even in real estate in general, what would you say?
Well, that's a tough one. Speed up my success rate. I think if I could somehow tell myself that to do what I'm doing today sooner, which is really service the residential loan originator in that aspect, instead of looking for internal loan officers, that would have been a really good thing to do and just figure out that process. Other than that, it's my grind has always been there. My work ethic has always been there. It just comes down to just working hard and not worrying so much about just the minutia.
Sounds like even though you said something before, it sounded like you would have niched down sooner in this one area for the 1 to 4. And that's the key. It's almost like you find your place and you become the best at it. So when somebody hears 1 to 4 units, they think John Krause. They think Starvox Capital.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that again, I feel like when we launched Starvox, we were that guy. We were that company at that time. And then everyone's doing a lot of this stuff now in the space, which has made it more of like a race to the bottom a little bit for pricing
Oh,
and all that. So that is why we really went hardcore into commercial, because that's where the gap is. The gap is in knowledge, is it's a different animal. Most loan officers won't do it, will never do it, and they shouldn't do it. They should stay in the lane that they're good at. Like you just said, I'm a residential loan officer. I'm crushing it with homeowners, and this is what I do, and I'm great at it. But when they get that commercial, somebody wants to buy that 37 unit apartment building or the office building or whatever it is, the golf course. I just got a call for a golf course today. Well, instead of saying no, they want to be able to say yes. So that's where like that whole thing, the niching portion, I think came out for us maybe about a year or two late. I think I
got it.
think if we had done this about a year or two earlier, we would be a little bit further ahead on the commercial. But I'm grateful just to be alive today, brother.
I mean, with the fact that you get to do all kinds of cool deals like that, the golf courses and stuff. I don't know. You get to see some creative financing and probably amazing problem solving
Want to hear a crazy
strategies.
story? The
Yeah.
call that I got today after I got home from the gym was from one of my loan officers that is one of the brokers that signed up. Known him for years. He's in Connecticut. John, I have a golf course that I have a client that wants to buy the golf course. He owns the restaurant. So I'm like, cool. I'm like, yeah, probably SBA, no problem. Maybe 10% down, giving him some quick details. Like, give me some more like nuts and bolts. And, we had a quick conversation. But the golf course that is being sold and potentially being bought that I got the call from is the same golf course that I was golfing on, which is one of my favorite golf courses. I was golfing on when my doctor called me to tell me that my cancer relapsed the third time. So it's kind of like it's just cool. I was just like, wouldn't it be a cool story if I'm the one who gets to finance that golf course that I love and then that went down on the second hole? You know what I
Defining
mean? Like
moment. Yeah.
that would be really
Yeah.
cool, right? So yeah, I get to do some cool stuff, but every once in a while, one of those situations pops, and it's like, wow, I'm in the right space at the right time, and I'm following God's lead, man.
It's a God wink. I was just talking to a guy yesterday. He goes, every
Yep.
once in a while, God, you get those God winks.
Yeah,
Man,
100%, dude.
incredible. Yeah, prayers for your. I mean, it's amazing. I've been. I think the last time I talked to you, I thought it was only two times,
Yeah.
and then whenever you told me three times, I'm like, oh my God, that's a hell of a journey. So, man, amazing. God is good. So
Amen.
God bless, man. And guys, if you are looking for somebody to help you fund a deal, get in touch with John. His information's all over. You'll probably see it in this email blog. You'll probably hear it on my podcast or see it in the notes section. But John Krause, that's Krause, and it's Starvox Capital, and it's all one word, right? Starvox is one word, or is that two?
Starbucks is one word. It's not Starbucks. A
Yeah,
lot of times when I
every
speak it,
time
it
you hear
says
it, every once in a while.
Starbucks. Yeah, Starvox is the one. Starvox Capital. Yep.
Beautiful. So if you're out there, you need funding, whether it's for a golf course or maybe a 1 to 4 unit or maybe some land, he might have a solution at his disposal. So, John, thanks so much for being here. I can't wait. I mean, I'm really starting to pick up partners all over. And right now, we're getting to test run on who is actually a deal closer. So they're not technically partners; they're in a trial period, but we're starting to see people who are coming to the top. And I mean, if they ever need funding, you're one of the guys that I send them to. So, John, thanks so much for being here. And the best way to get in touch with you, probably phone call, email, website, one of those three, right?
Yeah, any of those three. Yeah, hop on the website. You can click a discovery call right there with me. That'll be with me. And the number's on there too.
Is it starvox.com or is it Starvox Capital? Which?
StarvoxCapital.com.
Perfect. Okay,
Yep.
guys, check it out. And remember, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's all we're looking for. We'll see you next time.